I'm going to talk for about 5 or 10 minutes about the book and how I came to write it. Then I'll take some questions, and I'll sign books. I'm happy to personalize them, and take as long as we need to sign books. July 16th, 1996. I was out on the east end of Long Island, and I was actually writing, I was renting a house out there. I was writing Plum Island, and Plum Island was out there, so I rented a house the way James Mitchell used to do. Whenever he wrote a book, he always went to the area. That's why I wrote a lot of books about Hawaii and Tahiti or whatever. But I was out on the east end. I finished writing, I went out on the back deck, have a little cocktail after a hard day of writing. I heard this kind of like an explosion, sort of far away thunder, I thought it was at first. And didn't think anything of it. It was right after the 4th of July. And about an hour later, the phone rang. And I picked up the phone, and the person said, "Did you hear a plane just crashed off the coast?" I said, "No, I didn't hear that. We'll turn the TV on." So I turned the TV on. And the reporter was on the scene at this point. Said they didn't really know what happened at first, but they knew it was a commercial airline. I knew it was a 747. And then the announcer, the reporter rather, happened to say that it was TWA Flight 800. And it kind of took me up short because I just put my daughter on that flight 3 nights before. And so I watched this, I was kind of mesmerized by it all night. What happened was this, and you're young enough, old enough I should say, you probably remember it. It was 8 years ago, it's not that long ago. TWA Flight 800 took off from JFK about 2 hours late. It had 230 people on board. And it was about 11 minutes into the flight, and it was off the coast of West Hampton Beach on Long Island. And all of a sudden the plane exploded in midair with 230 people on board, 13 miles off the coast, 8 miles off the coast, 13,000 feet altitude, killing everybody on board. I went down to the beach the next morning as close as I could get to a lot of people, you know, who were going to be involved with the rescue operation. There was no survivors. I finished Plum Island, and I started my next book, which was The Lion's Game. And during the course of the researching that book, I was talking to a lot of people from the Joint Terrorist Task Force, who made up of NYPD and FBI. And I was researching Lion's Game, but you know, the subject of TWA 800 came up because a lot of these guys had worked that case. And I said, "What do you think happened that night?" Now at this point, of course, the official conclusion was that it was a mid-air explosion caused by a spark in the center fuel tank that caused the plane to explode. It was an accident. It was ruled an accident. But there were about 800 people who saw the actual explosion, but 200 of those people swear they saw a streak of light go from the water up toward the plane moments before it exploded. So on the one hand, you had 200 eyewitnesses who said this is what we saw, looked like a missile or a rocket, and you had the official government conclusion, which was that it was an accident. A lot of people are not happy with the official government conclusion, mostly because of these eyewitnesses, mostly because of other things that happened that night that seemed strange. One of them was that there was a El Al flight right behind the TWA that should have been in front of it, but the TWA took off about 2 hours late. And if this was a missile attack, a terrorist attack, the intended target may have been the El Al flight. Another thing that happened that night that was strange was that there were 30-some boats in the area, pleasure boats, that were seen by Navy radar because the Navy was doing war games out on the water that night. And they asked all these skippers to report in or to try to help with the rescue operation. And they all did except one boat disappeared at 33 knots. It's called the 33-knot boat. It went out toward the open ocean, never to be seen again. They lost it on radar. So, you know, the theory was if this was a missile attack, obviously this was the boat from which the missile was launched.